Hello, everybody. It is your girl, Ashley, the amateur expert, and I am coming to you live today for this episode of Talk Tuesday. Super excited for our guest, Sharon, to join us. Hey, Mimi. We will be discussing her career path, her ideas of success, as well as the tips and motivators that she has used along the way. Sharon has actually been super pivotal in the birth of Affirmed Armor, and I am rocking the new Affirmed Armor. I am enough, which will be launching soon for Galentine's and Valentine's Day. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I am so happy to be doing with you all every week. It brings me joy, and also I am fulfilled every week, and I hope that you are fulfilled as well. Our guest is in the building, so let's let her in and we will get started. Maybe. Yes. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? And welcome to the Amateur Extra Podcast.
I am well, and thank you for having me. How are you?
I am well, thank you. We've been trying to get this to happen for a
I,
while, so I am so happy to have you on.
yeah, it's been a year, right? I think the first time I scheduled was last January, and so yeah, it's 12 months in the making. So really excited to be here and to do this as well.
Awesome. Okay, so I would like for you to please introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do currently for work.
So hello everyone. My name is Sharon Wale. Obviously my handle is at moi_lay, but my full name is also on my page. Currently for work, I work at a venture capital fund. And what we do is invest in digital healthcare companies and startups. And I am a program manager there. So we have like a number of programs, which is actually how I met yours truly, Ashley. We have a number of different programs for entrepreneurs and to support them in building their businesses. And then, so yeah, there's just a number of programs that I manage in that way. So,
Awesome.
Mhm.
Yes, and like I said before you hopped on, you have been very helpful in getting Affirmed Armor up and running. My first pitch deck had every every brand I ever conceptualized on it. And I was just like, they're just about to get all of it and we're gonna make some money. And then Sharon was like, or we should scale back and start with one. And so we tapped into Affirmed Armor for this program, but super excited to talk more about your career path. So, Sharon, when you were a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up, and what was the motivating factor behind that?
Oh, wow. So the story is old as time. I really wanted to be a doctor. Just like literally forever. I don't think I really had any ideas or any like other options in terms of career path when I was younger. And I think it's, a factor of one, having a lot of my parents, or sorry, a lot of my community. I'm originally from Kenya. A lot of my community, it was like doctor, lawyer, engineer, those licensed practices.
Hmm.
My dad was an architect, so architecture as well was also, recognized as a career option. And so I think it was, the motivation really wasn't necessarily my own. I think I liked healthcare. And like I said, with the firm that I currently work for, I have stuck to that throughout my, career and academic experiences. But otherwise, yeah, it was really just scoped on, what are people that are in my family or my life are doing,
Hmm.
and what's something that I can see myself doing. And I think it was really, to become a doctor.
Of the five options, I
Of
guess the
like the
doctor would
five
be
options.
good.
I think there's like
I guess
8 licensed. I could have become an accountant. That's licensed. Anything licensed was like, okay, that's a real job,
accessible.
and you will get
Yeah,
a job, and you will have like a career afterwards, and you'll make some money. So
yeah,
whatever was licensed, there's not too many jobs that are licensed. That was okay.
yeah. Understood. Okay, and so what did you think success was?
Oh wow. at the time or now?
Yeah, at that time. Nope, at
At
that
that
time.
time, I think I really don't think I had any ideas about what success was. I don't think I could have like really defined it. But again, traditional success, right? So I finished school. I have the letters PhD and or MD near my name, and I make enough money to not only take care of myself, but then also to take care of my parents. So it's again really small scoped in terms of like society's interpretation of success, or most of society's interpretation of success, which is
Right.
money, job, degrees.
Yep. Check, check, check.
Yeah.
Okay. So you stated that you're still working in healthcare, but
Mhm.
obviously not as an MD. So can you sort of just give us the trajectory of your career? Like, when did you decide that you weren't going to do the blood and guts? Like, how did that happen?
Oh gosh. I think I remember the exact conversation that I had with my dad. I can't remember when. In college, of course, but I was going to a doctor's appointment actually, and I was like, Dad, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I don't know why I chose that opportune
Yeah.
moment to tell him. And it had nothing to do with like my visit to the doctor, because we were in the waiting room at the time. But I think it was, right around my sophomore year of college. Yes, because then I went to a different program my junior year. And I had just finished like all these classes. If you're familiar with the path to medicine, organic chemistry, other chemistries, biology, physics, all of that was starting to weigh on me as a
Hmm.
student.
Hmm.
Not only in terms of like, I was also a student athlete. So like in terms of just having time to successfully participate in the program. And then also just thinking about like, why do I really wanted to become a doctor was to run a
Right.
hospital. And I think what I learned was like, I don't need to be an MD to become, a
Mm.
hospital administrator or to
Yep.
become someone who runs a hospital. And that was the
Right.
career path that I wasn't really familiar with at the time.
Hmm.
I think it's, definitely changed within the last decade, how the path to hospital administration. But that
Hmm.
was really the catalyst, was like, what's my end goal? I didn't want to practice medicine.
Right.
And it's a really long road to, pursue if you're not going to practice medicine, especially if you know that early on that you
So
don't
you
want to
don't
practice
want to. Right.
medicine.
For sure.
So that was one thing. And then to your second question, um, I think the change was hard. And I think more mentally hard than anything. So we're here, and and I'm happy with where I have arrived. I would definitely say that I probably work more in like finance field, and we invest in healthcare than I work in healthcare. And there's that finance aspect of it. So I think that's probably the biggest change and the
Hmm.
biggest difference. And also like where I've had to learn the most, is because of what that kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you change your what did you end up getting your degree in?
So undergrad was mathematics and public health. And then I ended up with a master's in public health as well, in healthcare administration, thinking again that I was going to go down the path of hospital administration, which I
Okay.
also
That's,
didn't end up in. I have done a lot of like, okay, tried that, didn't really like it, tried that, didn't really like it.
I think that's good though, to be certain, right? And you don't know unless you do it.
Yeah, you don't
Um,
know until you know.
right. But the good thing is that you have found something that you do like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. And so what is your idea of success today?
Um, wow. Gosh. I think my idea of success today is finding balance in the season of life that you're in. I don't, your work and your life is always going to be intertwined some way or another.
Hmm.
And so, this time of year, I work probably the most that I do compared to the rest of the year. And so, right now my balance is like 10 hours of work and then doing the rest of whatever I need to do. So I think it's like finding the balance that's right for you.
Hmm.
I also don't have children. I don't have a husband. I don't have anyone who I'm taking care of. My parents are fully functional. So again, as I'm not a caretaker for anyone, so I'm
Hmm.
also able to kind of like work those crazy hours. And so I think, you know, if one is finding balance in what you do, I think it's also finding happiness. Again, going back to work-life balance, it's like you spend a lot of time working, and a lot of organizations will say, oh, you know, um, 40 hours a week and this is your salary, but like you typically will probably, even with like a low stress job, you're probably going to work at least 50 hours a week. And that's mostly because, you know, administrative stuff, management stuff, reporting stuff. And then you get to your actual work probably in the afternoon after a bunch of meetings and things of that nature. So it's really, you know, find what makes you happy. And try to pursue that. I don't want to mix that with like make your hobby into your business, because I don't 100% believe into that or buy into that. I think it's great if you can, but you know, your hobby is supposed to be something fun that you do on the side. But find something that you really like and really enjoy doing. That necessarily isn't like how you relax, right?
Yes, I think that's a good point.
You just enjoy doing, whether it's, for me, I really like working with entrepreneurs and I really like working in healthcare entrepreneurship, but I'm also open to just any kind of tech innovation. So it's, as long as I'm able to work with entrepreneurs and in whatever field they're looking to innovate, that's what I think drives me. And I think that those are two kind of really big indicators of success. And I think the last piece is just, you know, if you have a business idea, honestly, the biggest difference I think but the biggest difference between entrepreneurs who become founders or people who don't become entrepreneurs or people who don't become founders is like honestly having the audacity to do it. And there's a lot more, you know, built into that, whether it's financially speaking. So like there's expenses to building a business. But again, try everything, do something, do like a minimum version of it, and see where it goes. So I think that's kind of like how I would define success now.
I think those three things were great. And I love that I've done over like 760, I don't know. I've done a bunch of these and everyone has a different answer. And I think that it's so important to remember that success is personal and what it is what it is for you that day, right? And like, so like we said, when you were younger, you had no idea what success was or didn't have any way to quantify it or qualify it. And I'm sure when you were, you know, first in college, you had an idea. So I think it's also important just to stress that it can change at any
will
moment.
Change. It will change.
For sure.
I'm yet to meet someone who's done the same thing in their all of their life, but
yeah,
we'll see.
What is something that you have learned, or something that you're still in the process of learning that you wish you had learned sooner?
Oh my gosh. I think what I've learned is, and this is probably coming from like the people that I manage, is having really strong Microsoft suite skills. Like I'm talking Excel, PowerPoint, and Word specifically. I think there's obviously a lot more Microsoft products that you can use, but those are not as important. But like I have never, like, being able to use those products, specifically Word and PowerPoint, to the fullest extent, because they're actually really powerful tools that people, you know, use in the most basic of forms. I think that that's something that I've learned that I wish I knew, or wish I had taken like a PowerPoint class prior to where I've gotten now. Would have saved me a lot of time, especially early on. I think the second thing is communication. And at least from a business perspective, it's always like, I'm really kind of talking about like writing. There obviously is like business writing and the creative writing and like different styles of writing, but 9 times out of 10, as long as your grammar is good, your sentence structure is like appropriate, it doesn't matter the style or format of writing. You'll learn that language as you move along. But I think it's, you know, being really strong at having written communication. Verbal communication, I think, comes along with that. But I think even people who are strong verbally tend to struggle with written communication. Everything from, you know, ordering your email in such a way that makes sense. So like I'm going from this topic to this topic to that topic. up to, you know, writing like investment memo and like convincing whomever to make an investment in something. So it's like, you know, the really most rudimentary stuff of emailing and up to like, you know, trying to raise money or trying to get someone to invest money in you. I think those are probably the two skills that I've learned along the way. The first one I feel like I've mastered pretty well.
First of all,
But
you
definitely
and PowerPoint are like best friends. You can make a deck in seconds, and it is awesome stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, so but I think the latter I'm still learning and every day. You know my boss, you've met her, and she's like really critical when it comes to writing and like how well you write. So I think that's something that like I continue to learn and I continue to practice on. And actually started to, you know, take an English course just to like brush up on some topics and like especially on business writing. But I, you know, life is a, you know, a continuous learning cycle, so I don't think I'll ever be perfect, and I'm sure someone can teach me something about PowerPoint. No one has yet in over a year, but someone out there can probably teach me a thing or two that I don't know about PowerPoint.
I think that you should be teaching the masses. I see a master class
A
soon.
master class on PowerPoint making. Someone's better than me, but that doesn't mean I can't teach it. You're right. I'm sure.
I think that you for sure should think about that, although your schedule is incredibly busy. So, um, okay. So what else I have to ask you? I want to know what are some of the tips and motivators you've learned along or that you used along your journey?
Tips of motivation.
Tips or motiv or motivators.
Or motivators. So I think if I touch on tips, probably just like what I've already said, in terms of just like communicating, trying things, and learning like the Microsoft tools. But I think in terms of motivators, that's a really interesting question because success, like we said, is really unique to who you are. So the things that are going to motivate you are also going to be really unique to who you are. But I think an umbrella way of saying that is think about where your end goal is or what your end game is, and try to really focus on getting there, right? And not so like tunnel vision that you don't even explore other opportunities
That's good.
that might, you know, that might seem like they're kind of off track or off the beaten path, but focus on what your end goal is, especially on the hard days, because I think, you know, every day you wake up, there's someone in your inbox who's like, God, I don't want to answer this email, or or there is a problem that your boss gave you that is just like, man, I really don't know what she's talking about or what he's talking about, but I'm going to figure out my way. Or you make a mistake because you're bound to make mistakes in life. And you might make a mistake and it might cost you money or it might cost you a relationship or it might cost you something that you didn't want to lose. And because of that, you know, it's probably going to be painful emotionally, probably going to be painful to your pockets if it was money.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it's like one of those things where keep focusing on what your end goal is, because the more mistakes you make, honestly, the faster you'll learn. And also it's about how you come back from those mistakes, because you never know who it is, like, okay, who it is that impacted outside of you, and being able to deal with that, I think is really important. But I think honestly, I don't have any other like motivators other than I know where it is that I'm hoping to head in my career and where I'm hoping to land. And I think that's the biggest thing. Maybe if I had like, I don't know, kids or family, but I'm like motivated to work for them, but my future kids, I guess.
There you go. There you go.
I'm motivated to retire at 40, so.
Listen, I love that. And so every day when you wake up, that's your driving
That's the
force.
goal, right?
Yeah. I
But
think
also,
that's
you know,
good.
I think retirement is also fake. Most people don't actually retire. They just don't do what they did for like big check. And
Yeah.
then now it's like, let me just do my own thing.
Yep. No, seriously. And so Bevy Smith has a book that she is promoting right now. It's called Develations. And she talks about this life that she plans to live. And she has a name for her future self, and it's Malibu Bevy. And so she's
Oh,
like, Malibu Bevy wakes up early in the morning and she does this, and she has like a whole thing for Malibu Bevy. And so as you were speaking about, your end game, it sort of reminds me of that, like
oh
the
yeah.
life that you're looking to live, and that's what is the motivator.
It's definitely,
Um,
yep, I think so.
so you have to, and what's her name? The budgetnista, Tiffany, has a name for I think for her broke self, and she's like not going. I think Wanda is the name. She's like not going back to Wanda. Like that's what Wanda
Apologies.
would want to. So
Not her broke self.
I think
I should
maybe.
name my broke self. I've never been broke. What do you mean?
Oh
I've been cash
yes,
poor, but never broke.
amen. Amen. Yeah, no, I think I would have to say the same. I would have to say the same. And I also think that it's a mindset, but that's another topic.
That's
Uh, I
whole
think
nother life.
we'll come back. That'll be asking for a friend. Okay, so I am the amateur expert and I claim to know a little bit about a lot. And so,
hmm
Sharon, you have shared with us thus far great tips, great motivators, and a lot of other inspiring things. But I want to know just one last thing. If you can just impart uh, some of your wisdom or a fun fact, just a random thing that I can say Sharon taught me.
Oh, I played the violin for a decade, and I can still teach you if you would like. So I can't teach you today,
No,
but that's something that I know you probably don't know about me, and I
did
know I
not
don't typically share that with people.
did not know
Um,
that you were a violinist. Interesting.
yeah. And I think one of the things that I learned from playing the violin is practice truly does make perfect. Um, oh, sorry, not, I was never perfect. I was fairly good. But I was never perfect. But yeah, definitely like, practice makes perfect. And I think that that applies to anything and everything. And I'm pretty sure Malcolm Gladwell wrote an entire book on it, called, I'm blanking on the name, but Malcolm Gladwell has a book and he talks about, these people who've done things 10, 20,000 times and
Mm,
then you become an expert in it. Or spend 10, I think 10,000 hours on something is how you become an expert. And if you calculate 10,000 hours on something, it's like a couple years of doing that same thing over and over
yeah.
again. So, yeah. So like, I think that that's something I've learned. And again, not everyone will get the opportunity to do 10,000 hours, but the more outliers, yes, you are right, Ronnie.
Thank you,
Um,
Ronnie.
and so, not everyone will get to do something for 10,000 hours, but the more you do something that you're really passionate about or that you really want to succeed in, the better you're going to get at it. You may not be the best, but you'll definitely get better. And I think growth is almost always a much better goal than being, top of the world.
I think that's awesome. Wait, I have a follow-up question. So,
Okay.
did you play like did you have like private lessons, or like did you play a part of an ensemble? Like was it was
Yeah.
was
Well,
it
I mean,
also
it's
like a
funny that
team
you asked
effort?
that question because the practice was really important for me because I did not have a private teacher. Majority of the orchestra that I was in did have a private teacher, but like that was super expensive and my
Hmm.
parents couldn't afford it at the time.
Hmm.
But the way that you perform for the conductor is we do these basically tests, and she does like a blind listening test, meaning like we go into a room and she records us playing whatever song we're supposed to be playing or that she wants us to play, and then she listens to them and then selects the people who are going to be first chair, second chair, third, and fourth
Wow.
chair. And then after fourth chair, everyone is kind of like a hodgepodge. So I was third and second chair, and both the first, second, and fourth chair all had private lessons. And so I think again, it's like a testament to,
Hmm.
practicing does will get you somewhere.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's just funny that you asked me that question, because that's why I was thinking about it.
I think, but I also think so. My supervisor and I have had conversations about how do I say this? We have discussed that people who play team sports, people who have to do things that make them practice, but also with other people, we see that sometimes that they have different levels of success in different corporate
Yeah.
settings.
Okay. Better or worse?
Good.
Good? Okay.
Because you know how to be a team player, right?
Right.
You are conditioning, you want to do well for yourself, but also for your team.
Yes. Oh, okay. I could see that.
And so I wasn't sure if you were just playing because I think that you're a very successful person, right?
Oh, thank
And
you.
I am you're welcome. But I just wanted to know because I didn't know that you played an instrument. But I wanted to know if I could make the comparison between playing an instrument and playing a sport.
And
So
playing a sport.
it was a totally
I mean, I've done
random.
both, I guess. So then it's just like, which one?
That's right. That's right. Okay. Well, Sharon, this has been amazing. I want you please to plug. There's the summit something. What do you have going on? How can we support you? What are the
Oh,
things?
yeah. So my firm is running a Lead Her Summit next month, literally a month from today. February 19th, we have a half day of like conversation about inclusive technology, investor development, as well as entrepreneurship education. And we have like 2 sessions at the beginning, at the end. One with like the global head of corporate citizenship at Goldman Sachs will be joining for a session in the morning, and then the CTO, Chief Technology Officer of CMS Innovation, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services Innovation Center, will be closing off the day. And then in the center of the day will be 2 sessions taught by IDEO, which is a design firm specifically focused on founders and entrepreneurs. And then the other thing that's going on concurrently is a session by a law firm that will be teaching about, how to raise a fund. So if anyone is interested in raising a fund or being an asset manager, that's also going to be available. So that's like a half-day event, super cool, super, super fun, and hope to see you there. I don't think I have it on my Instagram, but I can definitely add it in there. Or if you're going to post this, I can give it to you for the comments.
Yep, I was going to say I'll put it in the show notes. This has been amazing. I always feel like I need to read more books after talking to you. But thank you again for being on the show. Thank you for all your support for Affirmed Armor and all your help there. And just thank you. Yeah, like I'm super appreciative of you and blessed to have been able to connect with you. Y'all follow Sharon. She is a boss and show support. So we will be back next week, Tuesday, for another episode of The Amateur Expert. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh wait, Sharon, we gotta smile. We gotta smile. Sorry, we gotta
What am I
chill.
smiling for?
We have to be still and smile so we have a good screen grab at the end. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
All right.
Thanks, Sharon. Bye.